Lounging, son.
Welcome to another episode of the Comic Lounge podcast. I'm your host, and my co-host is Dylan. Dylan, say what's up to everyone.
What's up, guys?
All right, this week we are going to be covering Batman: The Long Halloween by Jeph Loeb and Tim Sale. We're also going to be talking about what we've read this week, what we got coming up on the site for the hip hop and comics coverage, and we'll also be touching on
Denny O'Neil.
And we're going to be touching on the passing of Denny O'Neil, legendary writer.
I also want to touch on something that we talked about last week about digital comics, but I'll get into that later. Like, it's kind of like a pro and con thing that I want to bring up that I noticed. I read Hellboy this week. I think it was volume 6. I forget which volume that was, but yeah, I'll talk about that later as it pops up.
Well, first off, let's talk about what we read this week. What'd you read this week?
I read The Long Halloween. Because we were talking about Jeph Loeb and Tim Sale, I actually started rereading Daredevil Yellow.
Oh, so good.
Dude, the art.
I know.
Damn it.
We're going to be talking about that book on the podcast for sure.
Yeah. I read more V for Vendetta, obviously. And I'm still plowing my way through that compendium that your brother let me borrow, that Invincible Compendium. And it's just getting better and better, dude. Oh, my God.
I know.
It starts off as like, typical superhero story, but then it turns into something just absolutely insane that, because me, I knew nothing about it. So I stepped into it, really knowing nothing about it. And just thinking, oh, this is going to be a regular superhero story. Like, I don't know why. Like, there's a whole ass compendium for it. Where could it possibly go? And then, boom, by like issue 12, takes a turn for the worst. Worst as in, like, for the antagonist, for the protagonist. It's just, holy crap, you're just getting so much shit thrown at you right now. But it's so good. Holy crap. I don't know why I didn't, get into it earlier.
Dude, you have no idea how fucking amazing that series is.
Saying that. Everyone keeps on saying that. I talked to multiple people about it. I told them where I am, and they're like, "Oh, dude, just wait!" I can't wait.
I did a full reread of the series, and holy fucking shit, dude! I read the entire series, 144 issues. I read that shit in fucking 4 to 5 days. I could not stop reading it.
Ugh.
I mean, it's just, in my opinion, it's Kirkman's best work. I like Walking Dead, but for me, that fell off at a certain point. I just felt like it was dragging a little bit.
It felt repetitive.
It could have ended sooner than it did.
Yeah, I felt like Walking Dead just got repetitive at one point. It's like, testing the boundaries of what human beings can do given an insane situation. Like, do you kill humans, or it just kind of got repetitive for me. So I kind of gave up. I obviously read the last issue because I wanted to see how it ended. But
same here. It's like the show. The show fucking. I stopped watching the show probably 3 years ago, and I just couldn't do it anymore. And then I kept hearing what was happening on the show, and I'm like, oh my god, it's so fucking stupid, dude. Like,
when what's his name? I think when they got to Alexandria this season, after that I stopped watching.
Oh, so before Negan?
Yeah, before Negan.
Okay.
And I knew Negan was coming. So I was like, oh, okay. I wasn't even into it, even after the announcements of Negan and all the freaking spoilers that freaking flooded my timeline. I was like, so that's what I missed. Got it.
Yeah, I stayed through with Negan. I think I watched. Okay, so I watched when he debuted. I think I watched the next season after, and then I stopped because I was just like, it's the same shit, dude. It's like they should have trimmed it down, and it should be done right now. I don't even understand what they're doing. Rick died. He didn't die. They're going to make a movie. They have 3 fucking spin-off shows. It's like, dude, please. I don't care. I don't fucking care anymore. You fucking killed Carl.
No. It's like they just killed all the homies.
Yeah, dude. Ridiculous.
Literally killed all the homies. Like in Game of Thrones, when you became invested in a character, it was inevitable that character was going to be killed. This one, it's like you became invested in multiple characters throughout the series, and then in one fell swoop, just half the cast that you grew up with is gone.
And I get it. Everybody dies. Just like in Game of Thrones, everybody dies in Walking Dead, but fuck, dude. They were killing people that shouldn't have died. Like in the books, they were still alive, and their storylines were really interesting, even though the book had kind of fallen off for me.
Okay. Anyway,
fucking Walking Dead. Yeah. So you said you've been reading Invincible. You're gonna want to just keep reading. I don't know how it's taking you this long. No judging. I know you work fucking a lot of hours. I know you read other shit in between.
My currently reading pile on my Goodreads is like 16 books.
How do you do that? How do you read multiple series? I can't do that. Like if I start a book, I have to finish it. Like if I'm in the middle of a trade and new books come out that week, I will not crack open one of my new books until I finish that trade.
Because you have more dedication than me. Me, sometimes I just get bored. Like take for instance, one of the things on my reading list that I'm currently reading is the 2018 Lucifer, Volume 1, Infernal Comedy.
Is that when the Sandman Universe one?
Sandman Universe, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Is it good?
Yeah. I got through about like a quarter of it, and the art is captivating enough, but like I am still like waiting for like a payoff. Like right now, it's just like a lot of backstory, like a lot of crows flying around, trying to figure out what the hell's going on, and I'm okay with it, but it's just like I'm trying to muscle through it. But then like take for instance, I'm rereading The Dark Knight Strikes Again because I haven't read DK3 yet, and I want to, but I want to retouch. Yeah.
don't waste your fucking time with DK3. Please don't do that to yourself. If I could go back in time and tell myself not to read that book, I would fucking do it because I just can't. I can't, dude. Like I won't ever read that story again. I've read Dark Knight Strikes Again a second time, and I had a hardcover that collected Dark Knight Returns, Dark Knight Strikes Again. I got rid of it because I'm like, I never want to read Dark Knight Strikes Again. You know what I mean? Like I can't do it. It didn't need a sequel. Dark Knight Returns was so perfect for what it was.
No, Dark Knight Returns was like absolutely great, and I think how it ended open-endedly, like left it up for interpretation for the lore. Like Dark Knight Strikes Again was literally trying to like it was like trying to capture lightning in a bottle twice.
And I heard I guess Grant Morrison on a Fat Man on Batman episode, I guess he talked about how it's kind of just like pop art. But for me, Miller's style is so drastically different from Returns to Strikes Again that it takes me out of the story. And then DK3 with Kubert's art, which isn't bad art. It's just the story, just like, dude, it just...
But yeah, no, that's actually a very valid point. Like, you know, it is definitely pop art, especially just the way, like, how it's definitely deep-rooted in, like, the Reagan era of what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So there was a lot, you know, like, it was a lot of, I wouldn't go so say it wasn't very politicized. I wouldn't say that. But because it was very rooted in this world where it almost kind of felt like he was trying to, like, be Alan Moore at a point. Because he tried to make statements like, oh, like, even your officials are fake, to the point where they're literal freaking, like, computer-generated images of people, and it's just, like, Big Brother, and, like, I was just like, come on, dude. Just stick to the Batman lore. Have him protect the city.
Yeah, don't read DK3. please don't do that to yourself.
I'm going to do it to myself, so we can bash it. Because I already know I'm probably not going to like it.
Okay, fine. Yeah, and then that one shot that came out, The Golden Child, not that long ago. The fucking art was amazing by Raphael Grandpa. But fuck that story, though. Come on, dude. I don't know. I love Frank Miller, dude. I love him, but maybe it's just time to stop. You know what I'm saying? Before you keep digging yourself into this hole and people... Because I hate when, you know, the legends, right? When they get bashed, you know what I mean? Because, like, they're not as good as they used to. I don't really like to trash talk Frank Miller, but he doesn't make it easy to not. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's just I just feel like like some writers lose touch, especially with their audience, because, you know, the audience grows, the audience changes. I've heard a couple people, like, you know, say that they won't read Frank Miller's stuff because of his portrayal of women in a lot of his stories, and I'm just like. Yeah, and I can totally see that and totally understand it. But, like, you also have to understand Dark Knight Returns came out in what, like 88, 89?
86.
86. Okay. So the 80s is not 2020, obviously. The 80s is not the 2010s. The 80s is not the 2000s. And, you know, what what passed off as like, you know, a portrayal of a character then and a portrayal of a character now, especially with the progress is made in writing for women, for characters of color, all that stuff. Like it's just a different time, and sometimes, like, you know, you just have to gracefully bow out. You know, especially, like, I mean, you like think about Sin City. Like,
I know,
like,
I know. I just read Volume 2 of Sin City. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. You know what I mean? Like,
you know, if they think about when you were first read Sin City, like, you didn't think about these things because they weren't issues.
I also was fucking 13 and I was just like, this fucking book is badass. And then now I'm 33 and I'm like, whoa, dude, okay. The art is great, but like some of this writing though, like your depictions, yeah. But, you know, I think he was definitely trying to like draw on some like old style writing too. You know what I mean? Like, no, I don't want to say homage, but
he definitely like encompasses, like, as far as all of his writing, all across the board, even the bad stuff. He has that dark undertone noir that he's always trying to capture, which he executes, but that doesn't necessarily translate into a good story.
Yeah, sometimes it just doesn't hit the mark. I was just gonna say, you have to finish Invincible. I gotta know what you think. I know Ari's probably gonna listen to this, and he's probably fucking, yeah, he fucking loves that book. I mean, I love it too. I don't know if I got him into it. I feel like I did, maybe not. I don't know. But it's a great series, and it's definitely something I'd love to dive deeper into.
What I love the most was the effortlessness of the dialogue.
Yes,
like none of it seems forced. Like, none of it seems like he's trying to invoke a younger audience by trying to sound hip or anything. But it's all very natural, you know.
Yeah,
that's something I really, really enjoy. Also, the art of it, you know, it's very bright. There's a lot of use of vibrant colors and a lot of excellent splash scenes.
Yeah, that's Bill. I think that's Bill Crabtree's coloring. I think.
I believe so.
Otley's fucking. That dude's insane, dude. He loves drawing just fucking blood and because it's kind of like that book can be bloody as hell. Sometimes,
it's bloody as hell. Like, especially like when Invincible fights his dad. Like, damn, that was a fight, dude. Like, literally spanned across both, through his own son through a mountain. Like, whoa.
I was reading it when it first came out too, and I didn't know who the fuck Kirkman was. I mean, I don't even think he was that big of an name. That was before Walking Dead.
Before Walking Dead, yep.
Image had like launched a bunch of like superhero type books because they were trying to reinvigorate the superhero line that they had. Yeah. And I remember reading it. I remember that issue, dude, when fucking you realize that his dad's fucking evil.
His dad's a piece of shit.
Yeah, and like I had to wait a month to like continue reading. So like the anticipation that Kirkman kept building up.
Wait. So you're telling me it was 144 issues?
Yes.
But it was monthly? It wasn't like bi-weekly?
This series came out in 2002.
Oh, so when we were in high school. Holy crap. Aside from that, I'm also reading, I mean, like I said, Daredevil Yellow, but I'm also reading a book by Ta-Nehisi Coates.
Oh, I saw that, yeah.
Yeah, Between the World and Me, dude. It's pretty crazy. It's pretty intense. For the entire first chapter of it is literally like a letter to his son about growing up black in Baltimore. And it's pretty. He brings a very eloquent and insightful depiction and understanding of what he grew up around. And I think people should definitely read it, especially in the times now.
Yeah, he's a great fucking writer. I don't know if you've read his Black Panther.
I read his Black Panther and I read his Captain America. I just like the whole Captain America traveling state to state, like solving people's problems. It's like, you know, it's like the Scooby-Doo mysteries, but it's Captain America fighting fascists.
I have to pick up the hardcover collection of that because I really like that series.
Oh, you know what else I'm reading? I'm reading the Moon Knight Epic Collection, The Shadows of the Moon, which for some reason it starts off in issue 2. I don't understand why they would do that, but it's a pretty dope. Weird. It's pretty dope.
I'll check that out.
Yeah, I think a couple months ago, like it was on sale on Comixology. It was like $5 for the whole thing. I'm like, hell yeah, give me that shit.
After we talked about Watchmen last week, when I got to work on Monday, I ordered the Absolute Watchmen.
Nice.
Yeah. So us recording last week just cost me fucking $100, but you know, no big deal.
No big deal. Big deal.
Well, after my discount, it's less. So.
Yeah, same. That's how I bought the freaking Uncanny X-Force. With my discount, it was like the cheapest freaking omnibus I ever bought in my life. Yeah.
All right, you want to get into Long Halloween?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, let's do it. So basically, Long Halloween, it's a detective story. Each issue is centered around a holiday. There's a killer that Batman and Gordon and Dent are after called Holiday. And every single month, Holiday kills somebody else and leaves us something at the scene of the crime. Like the first one is on Halloween, hence the name Long Halloween, because they hunt down this killer for an entire year. It's a 13-issue series. Jeph Loeb's writing, I think, in my opinion, this is probably his best writing besides the stuff he does for Marvel later on. Tim Sale, his art is fucking phenomenal. Gregory Wright on coloring.
Yeah.
I mean, this book is just, it's fucking beautiful. I've read this series probably, I read it about either once a year or once every other year, and it's always good. It's my favorite Batman story.
Good. Every time I pick up the book, I always forget like how great Tim Sale's splash pages are.
Oh,
just why, and like, you know, I also noticed like their paneling, they don't focus a lot on like, you know, there's like 6 panels per page or like 9 panels per page. It's always like boom, 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 like 3 panels, but always boom, straight to the point, depicts exactly what you need to see and how you need to see it. And it's freaking great. Like there was a splash page where he, this is like when the Scarecrow escaped. And he's like riding
on
off.
The horse.
Yeah, on the horse. That splash page is just holy crap! It's beautiful. Like if you were to replace the Scarecrow's head with anything else, you can literally turn that into like a painting that I would hang up in my wall.
Yeah, it definitely kind of also had the vibe of like the Headless Horseman kind of thing. Yeah, his use of the double splash pages, you know, each issue begins with that single splash page. It ends with a single splash page. I really like the use of that. He is also very experimental with the composition of some of the panels. Like I think there's a couple pages where Harvey Dent is I think he's getting attacked or something, and like it looks like the panels falling down almost. I don't know how else to explain it.
Yeah. I also like the crazy foreshadowing that they did with Harvey Dent throughout the entire series. Like how they made it purposeful that half of his face was always covered in shadow.
And you also slowly see his downfall. Like from the beginning, like he's spiraling. He spirals before he loses it. What I really love too is there's that page too in the first issue, right? Where the gun is being constructed with with the bottle nipple, right? And those 6 panels, dude, so simple, but each image is so striking. It's like boom, 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 boom. You know what I mean? One after another, and then you flip, and Gordon in his house, and you see the bottle nipple. And I like how there's all these like red herrings of who Holiday is, and then it goes to Harvey Dent, and he's in his basement, and he's filing away at something down there, which kind of like hints at like, oh, is he filing the numbers off of the gun? And shit like that. And this book, just from beginning to end, it constantly has you on the edge of your seat. I mean, if you really think about it too, Batman isn't really in the book that much. No. You know what I mean? I realized it more.
He's more investigative than he is.
He's probably in 50%
hands-on
of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there was one scene too. It's one of my favorite scenes of the book. Fighting Solomon Grundy in the second issue, right?
Yeah.
And then at the end, how he just brings that Thanksgiving dinner and he puts it in front of the fucking sewer, and it's just such a like small moment, but it's so fucking beautiful the way that page is composed. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and like,
no, absolutely, I agree. There's something that shines through Batman in this, and it's his care for certain things, like the things he chooses to care about. Like, you know, he cares about the city. He believes in Harvey Dent. He believes in all this. But, like, there's also, like, he didn't have to do that for Solomon Grundy. He didn't have to, like, you know, when he had an altercation with Catwoman and he grabs her arm, she literally freaking, you're hurting me. And he lets go. Like, oh, shit. There's a certain care with it. And also how he has that inner doubt about whether or not Dent is Holiday.
Yes.
So you see, you know, the world's greatest detective even has doubt.
And that's what's cool too, is like, really the book is, yes, it's about finding Holiday, right? But I think when the book really starts is that meeting between Gordon, Dent, and Batman on the rooftop when they make that deal to take down the Falcone crime family, right? And that's another great character. That's what kind of gives it more of that like noir vibe too, because like they're going after the fucking mafia and the organized crime and stuff.
Yeah.
It's not some big over the top villain, even though those villains are in here. They're just like they're side notes.
Yeah.
If you really think about it, they're not the main focus. Even though Joker at some point comes in because he's mad because like there's only enough room for one fucking homicidal maniac in his town, which I think was kind of funny. So he was trying to figure out who Holiday was.
Oh, Tim Sale's design on the Joker is like one of my favorites, dude.
I know. It's
like
creepy. Those teeth.
And he never opens his mouth. If you notice, he's always talking through his smile. He's lanky and creepy, and then he just shows up at people's houses. like this is exactly like the kind of Joker that I like. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then the jokes are like, they're not overtly corny or they're not overtly clown-like in their jokes, but more like super dark in their humor.
That's like the perfect Joker. I like when he's humorous, but he's fucking like
you can't tell if he's serious or not. Like
yeah, dude.
Like,
yeah.
And then who else was a good standout in this? Oh, can we talk about Tim Sale's portrayal of Poison Ivy? How she's literally a plant.
I know, dude, and the leaves are just like overtaking
growing,
the whole page.
Growing off of her, just absolutely like it's alive. You can tell that it's alive and a part of her, rather than just giving her, her ginger red hair and then giving her like a suit made of leaves. No, it's like literally growing off of her. Like the green is a part of her.
I love his depiction of all the villains, really. I mean, he's probably, I would say, my favorite Batman artist. I like this style of art.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like the noir genre is probably, I would say, my favorite genre. I mean, I love Criminal and I love everything by Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillip. Yeah. That's why I love it so much, It's kind of like a sequel somewhat to Batman Year One. Yeah. Like it kind of leads in from there because of the Falcone crime family, which was, I think, Miller wrote in there. This is the type of Batman I want to read. I want to read a fucking detective. I want him to use his mind. That's, in my opinion, that's Batman's greatest strength, is his mind. It's not the fact that he trained and he fucking learned all these fighting styles. No, it's his fucking brilliant mind and the way he can fucking figure shit out that nobody else can fucking figure out. And he's always fucking 2 steps ahead of you, man. You know? And
how menacing he looked in this one. Like how just he's the big, he was like 6'6", easily like 250 pounds of muscle.
I know, and then those splash pages really show it off, dude. When you just see, oh my
form,
God.
Dude.
Yeah.
And then like when he confronts Falcone, like he's just literally like all of the balcony.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy, dude. Like I like the flowy cape. It's kind of like reminiscent of like early Spawn, how the cape almost was like alive.
I know that's one of the things I love about Spawn's design is the cape, and I love when Batman's cape is utilized in that way too. You know, where it's just like it's all encompassing, dude. It's just fucking everywhere. I like that crazy kind of shit. You know what I mean? Like, because that's what's cool about comics is to show stuff that you can't show in real life. That's what I want to see on the comic book page. I want it to be. I don't want it to be too crazy. I want it to be somewhat realistic, but I like seeing those insane depictions of fucking shit, like like you said, Poison Ivy with the fucking leaves growing off her body. You can't fucking do that in real life. The cape taking over the entire page or something. You know what I mean? Like
I think Catwoman. I mean, I hate the purple suit. I hate Catwoman's purple suit. But this long Halloween, her suit in this is just awesome. Even with the big ears, where she looks like freaking Deflator Mouse. But, like you know what I mean? But it's great. I don't know if they meant it, if this was purposeful as far as the Catwoman script. But every now and then she'll literally meow. And I was like, so you're channeling Eartha Kitt. Yeah.
Yeah, I like it.
You're channeling Eartha Kitt. That's cool.
This is one of the most beautiful Catwoman depictions. She's hot. Her fucking hair too. How it's kind of like big, but like wavy. I don't know, dude.
She's Electra, dude.
And I love her little side story too. If you don't look for it, you won't notice it, right? But she's got that side story of like she's following the Falcone crime family. You don't get the answer why in this book. You learn that later on. I don't know if it's in Dark Victory or if it's in the Catwoman When in Rome, but there's a reason she's following the Falcone crime family. And if you notice on the Roman's face, he's got 3 lines.
The scratches. Yep.
That's Catwoman. We don't see what happens until later on. in the trilogy of books of the Jeph Loeb and Tim Sale Batman. And I love that too. You know, like there's all these like little things going on in the background too that just make this story so good. It constantly keeps you on the edge of your seat. I remember when I first read it, I had no fucking clue who Holiday was. I had no idea until the end. You don't find out until the last pages who Holiday is. You know what I mean?
Holiday really is.
Yeah, because they fucking tell you who Holiday is. But yeah, you know, like they lead you to believe that it's the Roman son, Alberto, you know, who fakes his own death at one point of the book. And he's never heard. So like at the end when he turns himself in or whatever, he's like, "Oh, now I'm bigger than you."
Yeah, I'm bigger than the crime family.
Yeah, you ignored me all this time. You wouldn't take my advice, and now I'm bigger than you. But wait, there's more. You know, then Two-Face comes in, and he's sitting in Carmine, the Roman Falcone's fucking office with
everybody,
with all the villains, dude. And what does he do? He fucking kills him, dude. He fucking kills him.
2 shots to the head.
And then again, one of my favorite pages. It mirrors the meeting of Dent, Gordon, and Batman in the beginning when they decide to take the Falcone crime family down. But now he's Two-Face. He's not Harvey Dent. He's Two-Face now, and he fucking says that line.
How Harvey's dialogue switches between like Harvey and his alter ego, like in between like conversations.
Yeah, I love it.
Well executed.
He's my favorite Batman villain, dude. I love Two-Face. But it's that line that he says, dude. He's like, "The long Halloween is over." Oh my god, dude. You know what I mean? Like, I love that fucking line. Mm-hmm. And then that's when the fucking bomb drops. Yeah. And then you realize who the fucking killer was, and it wasn't one person.
No, it wasn't. And the thing is, you don't even think about you don't even consider this person a suspect because like the way they dropped it so subtly, dude. Especially in the beginning, and then for like 10 issues they don't even talk. They rarely even talk about her. They rarely even do any of that, and then boom, last 6 pages of issue 13.
And you just you see these panels and she's explaining why she did what she did. I'm like, oh my god, dude. I even forgot again while I was reading.
Me too.
I was like, how did I forget this? You know? Yeah. And that's what's cool about it is like you can revisit it and somehow your mind will trick you into thinking like, oh, it is Alberto. He is the fucking holiday killer. You know, and then you're like, oh wait, no, I remember that there's something else happened. The ending of the book is so great, and it leads into Dark Victory, which is another great one. I think we should cover that one again. You know, that'd be cool to talk about.
You know, I don't think I read Dark Victory.
Oh God, are you serious?
I don't think so. Like, I think it's one of those situations where I have to start reading it to remember if I read it.
Dude, it's when Robin gets introduced.
I don't fucking remember that shit.
Oh God, you gotta fucking read that.
Yeah, but it was absolutely
Dark
amazing.
For sure.
No, but it was absolutely amazing. Like, when you take away all of the Justice League's element of Batman and just leave him to his own devices in his own city and see his whole crusade, his real reason for being what he is. It's all well and good when Batman's trying to save the world, but like it's even better when he's just trying to save his city because it kind of shows you the give and take of control between him and then the city's underworld. It's crazy, and especially it kind of segues into like the evolution of the city too. It goes from organized crime to supervillain crime, and how Alberto was like, he even said to the Roman, "Hey, the city doesn't need criminals like you anymore. It's adapting a new breed of criminal. It's kind of pushing the old ways out and segueing into all the supervillains." And even Two-Face says it himself. It's like, it doesn't matter. They're going to lock them up. They're going to escape. And it's going to happen over and over again. How the justice system is flawed. How it can just be decided by a flip of a coin. The whole metaphor and how Harvey perceives the justice system is freaking just amazing.
It's almost just as much a story about Two-Face and Harvey Dent. You know what I mean? Like, you see his downfall. That's why I think he's such a great character. It's because he's been on both sides. You know what I mean? And like, while he understands justice, right? Like, he also sees that like it's to a certain point, it's pointless because these motherfuckers will still always get out, they will always be able to bypass the law,
Mm-hmm.
and
Or
and
they'll just be replaced by someone even crazier.
this is the reason Jeph Loeb is such a great writer.
Mm-hmm.
Later on, he starts writing some shit that I don't know what the fuck he was thinking. It's not as good. Hush, don't get me wrong, beautiful book to look at, but the story overall is not nearly as strong as this. You know what I mean? Like, this was some strong fucking writing. Like,
I hold Hush on a high pedestal mainly because friggin' it was an entire Jim Lee book.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, to me, that's like a popcorn flick. You know what I mean? Hush.
Yeah.
That's what that is to me. It's a very simple Batman story. You can give it to anybody. That's what I would give to like a newbie. You know what I mean? Like to read. Long Halloween is for a more seasoned vet. I think. You know what I mean? I don't know that everybody would love this book if this was their first Batman book. I feel like you kind of need to have a better understanding. I think Batman Year One you could read. I
think Long Halloween would be a great like second or third book for a newbie because
but not a first book.
No, not a first book. It would be like a second or third because think about it like this: you already have some exposure to the Two-Face lore because of the Chris Nolan Batman.
Right.
A lot of the Dark Knight was derived from the Long Halloween, save for the fact that there's no holiday killer. The meeting on the rooftop between the three, that's in there. The relationship and the obsessiveness that Harvey has with, stopping the crime family, like that's in there. Like I feel like if someone was to pick up Long Halloween and just like have a basic knowledge, just throughout just because of movies, Long Halloween is a great way to introduce the Batman character and the Two-Face character and even Jim Gordon.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I can see that too. This is one of the books I recommend to people, and they're like, "Oh, like what's a good Batman story?" And then I'll be like, "Well, how much Batman have you read?" Like I always ask that first at the shop. Yeah. And somebody's like, "Oh, I'm just getting into it." I'm like, "Okay, here's this book, but this is my favorite." And I'll kind of explain it to them like that. And I think I've hand sold at least minimum 6 Long Halloweens.
Nice.
And Dark Victory also, because I'll always try to sell them both at the same time. Hush, Hush is just, it's that popcorn flick, man. It's that, look how pretty it looks. Oh, it's got all the Batman villains.
Oh, and Superman's in it too?
Yeah. So, so don't get me wrong, dude. I love Jim Lee. I think it's probably one of Jim Lee's best works. But if I'm going on writing, and writing for me is equally, if not sometimes just a hair above in importance to me, I'm going with Long Halloween. I've tried to like recommend Batman Year One too, and somebody will flip through it and they'll put it down, dude, and they'll pick up Hush. That to me is fucking crazy because Batman Year One is the gold standard.
Yeah, dude.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't know how you put that
I
book down.
I love the dual narration of Year One. How it's like literally Jim and Bruce. It's their story.
Everything about that book is just it's perfection, dude. You know what I mean? Like it's you take the noir and like that's Miller like putting noir into the perfect noir character, and he makes him almost like a pulp type character in that book. And that's another episode we could talk about Batman Year One.
We should do like a month worth of just Batman, Bat month.
I'm not opposed to that. But yeah, so overall, I think Long Halloween is essential reading for any Batman fan, any DC fan. I think it's arguably the best Batman story. I mean, I know people could say Year One is.
But I just think in the grand scale of it, like it has to be Long Halloween because it was literally a year worth of comic. Yeah. Like, whereas Year One was like 6 issues, I believe.
4 issues.
Oh, Year One was 4 issues, even less. Like
it's that powerful that it feels like it's longer.
Yeah, but I feel like Long Halloween is just quintessential. It has to be on everyone's read list once, if not twice.
I agree.
It's just it's so good, and like you're right. Like you really like start the book off, and you like just forget, and then you get caught up in the mystery and like in the confusion and the panic within the characters about trying to find the holiday killer, and then all of a sudden you forget, and then when that big reveal hits, you're like, oh fuck, it's so good. There needs to be more good Batman stories. I much rather prefer like Batman away from the Justice League. That's just my personal opinion, though.
I agree. I think that those are the best Batman stories. Yeah. Except there is one good Batman story with Justice League, but that's because he fucking devised a plan on how to defeat each one, you know?
Oh,
which was a great story, but that's for another day.
Yeah.
So let's talk about what we got coming up this week on the Comic-Con site. We're going to talk about two of our favorite things in the world, comics and hip-hop.
Oh, I was going to say strippers and cocaine, but okay.
Well, I'm out of that lifestyle now, so.
No.
But that's my past. That's not my present.
Yeah,
I'm in a happy relationship.
So am I. I'm happily married.
Yeah, so you know. So, only once a month for that stuff now.
Okay, cool.
All right.
Yeah.
So hip hop and comics, the genesis of our friendship, how we became friends in high school was through the love of comics and hip hop.
Yep.
So what better way to fucking celebrate that than to talk about hip hop and comics for a whole week's worth of articles?
It's gonna be great. I have the MF Doom origin story. I have a list. I compiled. You and I we both compiled a list of essential reading for a hip hop fan that loves comics as well. What else do we have? Fucking. I have I'm writing the Ghostface article, Ghostface Killer, and his consistency and his adaptation of the whole Iron Man Tony Stark's alter ego. That's gonna be a good one. I also have, just, it's not like, I wouldn't say it's an article, but it's just like, you remember when Marvel like really put out all those hip hop variants?
Yeah.
Yeah. I talk about like, some of my favorite ones in particular, like,
okay.
like Thor, like how obviously her freaking cover was Mad Villain, which is MF Doom. Spider-Man Deadpool, where their variant was the cover to Paid in Full by Eric B. and Rakim. Rakim is like literally number one on my freaking top 5 list.
I love Rakim.
Yeah, he's great, dude.
Oh.
Let's see what else. I also talk about. There's a couple of them where I was just like, why did you even do this? Like why did you even do this cover? Because some covers it was just like. Because did a really good job over picking old albums and new albums.
Yeah.
And some of them were just I didn't understand. They did a Deadpool cover and it was Wale. And I'm just like I literally had to look it up. Like I didn't know that it was a Wale cover.
I'm gonna sound old. I don't even know who the fuck Wale is.
Yeah, see, there you go. Right.
So.
But then you have like, you have like an Avengers cover where it's literally, the Roots Illidale of Half-Life, and it's like, oh, it's amazing. Or Miles Morales, freaking Illmatic. Like,
oh my god, that's my favorite cover. That one, and then the Black Panther Jay-Z the Black album. That fucking cover was so fucking dope.
You know which one I really liked? All New Wolverine, when she was covered in blood, like
the DMX.
Like the flesh of my flesh, blood of my blood.
Yeah, dude, that's sick. I know those covers were fucking dope as fuck, dude.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So you fucking wrote something about that?
Yeah, it's just like little. It's mostly pictures.
Cool.
I'm gonna post it.
But you're just gonna talk a little bit about each one underneath the image, or are you gonna post it on Instagram?
No. I'm gonna be illegal. I'm gonna put it on the site.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and then I wrote up a review on the Sentences: The Life of MF Grimm.
Yeah.
That book was fucking amazing by Percy Carey, aka MF Grimm. He wrote it. It's an autobio, and Ronald Wimberly on art.
MF Grimm is all over Operation Doomsday.
I know.
Doom album, like all over that.
He talks about it. He talks about it in this autobio.
Oh, hell yeah.
It's pretty dope. And then what else did I do? I wrote an article about Hip Hop Family Tree by Ed Piskor. Then I think I threw on that list, I think I have 8 different books I put on that list for the essential reading for hip hop and comics.
We'll have to trade notes on that. I don't want to double up and put the same stuff on the lists.
I don't think we will. I think you know what I put.
Yeah, I think we'll be okay.
And then I think I'll probably just do a quick, not very long, but maybe just talk about hip hop and comics and how they've kind of always been connected. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you talk about Wu-Tang Clan, fucking. I mean, their alter egos are fucking comic book names. Johnny Blaze, Method Man, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Fucking Iron
Johnny
Man,
Blaze.
Tony Stark's fucking Ghostface Killer, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So, I mean, this shit goes back years. I mean, Ed Piskor kind of talks a little bit about it, but it's just so evident if you look at the history of hip hop and how they coincide, you know what I'm saying, throughout the years. And it's a perfect fucking marriage, you know, of both cultures.
It's escapism. It's like the two best forms of escapism: music and art, and writing. You know what I mean? Like, so the parallels have always been there. Like, you can't say that about any other genre. Like, you know, I mean, metal, like, you know, like rock and roll, you can probably say it, but none as prominent as hip hop.
No,
none as prominent as hip hop, especially like the '90s stuff. The '90s stuff, especially, like.
Oh yeah,
like
for
it,
sure.
it really stands out. Like I wrote in an article when I was like in a review for Excellence, how, like, you know, when Spawn came out, I was listening to Redman, Time for Some Action. Like, you know, when I would watch when I would watch the '92 X-Men animated series, I would have freaking like Wu-Tang Clan playing in the background. Even Spider-Man, there's a song, actually. It's a two-parter. And it's called The Secret Wars. It's by this guy, Last Emperor. And he literally pits these two, like, you know, superheroes versus rappers and hip-hop artists. It'll be like Redman versus Ben Grimm. It'll be like DOS Effects versus the Ninja Turtles.
That's sick.
And then one of the dope ones, it was like Spider-Man versus Nas. Oh. Two kids from Queens, bro. Like,
sick, dude. That's sick.
Yeah, and then like Busta Rhymes versus Dr. Octopus.
I love it.
Like Wolverine versus freaking Method Man. It's crazy. It's really dope. It's like one of the most perfect examples of how you can relate the two.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Actually, little tidbit: Last Emperor was actually in consideration to be signed to Aftermath Records, but then didn't receive a contract because Eminem got the contract instead.
Yeah, that's crazy, dude.
Yeah. Read that in an article with like, I think Eve was talking about it. Yeah, Eve from Rough Riders.
Yeah.
Because she was supposed to get signed to Aftermath too, but then she chose to go a different way. But she talks about how Last Emperor and Eminem were like literally fighting for a contract.
That's crazy as fuck.
Yeah. But yeah, dude, hip hop. It's gonna be a fun week. It's gonna definitely be a fun week.
I also got that Kari Randolph interview that we're gonna post too on the YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Yeah, that dude. You know that dude's influence heavily.
Hell yeah.
In his art. I mean, I think I wrote a review where I was quoting Gangstar, you know, Moment of Truth, and he even commented. He's like, "I love those. That's my favorite part is those Gangstar quotes that you threw in there."
Yeah. No. I tweet. I like on Twitter. I'm super active on Twitter when it comes to like a lot of those guys. And Brandon Thomas posted the picture of the Excellence issue 7, right, with the juice cover.
Yeah.
And I literally asked, like, who was it? Was it you or Kari that was like, you know what, let's do a juice cover? And then Kari responded, yeah, that's me.
That cover's dope as fuck, dude.
Dude, it's great.
I'm looking at it right now, dude. I got it right next to me. That shit is this issue was great. I can't wait you'll get into that in your review on the site, so we won't get too much into it. But I love that series. It's probably one of top 5 right now that's coming out. You know what I mean?
Easily in my top 5. It's definitely something I recommend to people, especially people who are like, give me a comic that isn't superheroes.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That and like Bitter Root also, I would say, are two. They're just they're great, dude. They're excellent. You know what I mean?
Yeah, excellence is real.
Intended. Yeah,
excellence is real.
It's an amazing book, and it came out of nowhere to me, dude. It really did. I remember getting the PDF of the first issue from Image. I fucking loved it, dude. And then I found out they were doing a signing at my shop. You know, like both of them, and I got to go fucking say what's up to them and. Day of release, and I was like, I already read it. I love it. You know, I'm all in.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. It's a book that I would recommend to people who love Harry Potter but hate J.K. Rowling.
And there's a lot of people hating that fucking chick right now. So Yeah.
You want to talk about digging yourself into a hole?
Yeah.
That's prime example of digging yourself. He doesn't make it any better for her. It just gets worse and worse as the days go by. Anyway, I digress.
But before we get out of here, let's real quick. We got to talk about Denny O'Neil. We lost a legend in comics. So many great stories. Some of my personal favorites. I mean, the Green Lantern, Green Arrow, the Batman stuff. He created Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah.
The Question series with Dennis Cowan, one of my all-time favorite series.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's done so much in comic books and has created so much great work.
I think it was great that we were talking about Frank Miller, because if it wasn't for Denny O'Neil, we wouldn't have a Frank Miller.
That's true. He brought him on because he was editing, right? Daredevil at the time. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was shocking. I mean, he was 81, which, isn't that old. At least from what I've read, he went peacefully, in his home. He didn't suffer, at least from what I've read. So that's
kind of like
positive.
how everyone wants to go. You want to go when you're at home.
Yeah. I don't want to suffer, and I'm glad he didn't have to suffer. If he's listening up there, thank you for everything you brought to the industry, man.
Man. I mean, think all his contributions, as far as even just like characters, like. Wasn't he responsible for Rhodey putting on the Iron Man suit?
I don't want to say yes and I don't want to say no because I'm not 100%. I'll take your word for it. It sounds like something that he would do. I mean, he was very socially conscious, dude. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there's that scene that he fucking wrote, in Green Lantern and Green Arrow 76 where, he has that homeless guy and he's like, you fight for the purple guys, you fight for the orange guys. Well, what about the black man? You know? I may have gotten the orange and purple wrong, but that's a powerful scene, dude. You know what I'm saying?
That run of Green Lantern and Green Arrow, that's like, people have to read that. Like the fact that it touched on so many social issues. It was such a good run, dude.
It is, and it's still relevant, dude. It's still fucking relevant today. A lot of the themes that were touched on in there, I mean, from the race, from the drug using. He wrote that issue with Speedy fucking shooting up heroin, dude. I mean,
and they put it on a cover.
Yeah,
like literal drug use on a cover. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, he'll be missed, for sure.
And like the response from it, like it's just crazy. Like,
the outpouring of affection.
The outpouring of affection for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he was beloved, dude.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Such a good guy. Such an excellent contributor to like this whole thing, this whole universe and world that we all love so much.
Yeah, rest in peace, Danny. All right, on that note, let's wrap it up. You guys can follow us at thecomiclounge.com. The links to all our social media you can find below. We're on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter.
Yep, pretty much all social media except for TikTok.
Yeah, you won't catch me on TikTok, dude.
Never. I can't believe I'm saying this. I'm literally too old for that shit.
I'm too old for that shit too. So I don't even know what the appeal of it is.
I totally felt like Danny Glover right now. Oh, I'm getting too old for this shit.
Oh man. Real quick. Let's read volume 1 of Spawn.
Oh, done.
For next week.
I read that shit like once a year.
Yeah. So, and we're also gonna have Mario. He's gonna join us next week.
Nice.
The podcast. Yeah. So you'll have 3 of us talking about our love of Spawn and Todd McFarlane. The
Todd father. I love that guy. That freaking guy. I feel like he and I can have a beer.
I want to hang out with him. One day I'm gonna get him on the fucking.
I just feel like Todd McFarlane, like, he speed talks and takes over conversations, but I'm totally here for it.
I like how he says, "Bud." Hey there, bud.
Hey there, bud.
Yeah, I love that.
Do you remember the old HBO Spawn series where he would like give an intro to every episode?
Yes.
Dude, like how dramatic he made it sound was freaking awesome. But then like, later on when he started doing like a lot of like his Facebook videos and like a lot of his like Instagram videos, how he was like totally not even like that.
Yeah.
I love it. The dramatic effect of wearing his black suits. It's like it's freaking great. I love '90s comics.
I love '90s comics too.
Oh man!
All right, we'll talk to you guys next week. Peace.
Peace.
Lounging, son.